Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another session of Talk It Out with ICE Pakistan. I'm your host, Saleh Mumtaz Yusuf, and today we have Mr. Bilal Safder from Krave Mart, who is going to be discussing about quick commerce and the status challenges that the students face when it comes to setting up their own ventures. Welcome, Bilal, today for this session. I hope you're doing well, and let's talk about your startup journey when it comes to Krave Mart and what exactly were the challenges that you were facing when you started?
First of all, thank you so much, Salia, for calling me in. It's an honor to add value to the student body that is myself, Bilal here. I've been associated with the industry, marketing industry for the last 13 years now. Primarily have worked for companies like Daraz, Telenor, so we're now part of Krave Mart. So yeah, that's a bit about myself.
Okay. So, what exactly are the opportunities that quick commerce offer to students who are basically starting young and when they want to start something of their own, whether it's to do with different industries? So, what exactly is that thing that stops them from,
Yeah.
going forward?
Yeah, so I think the quick commerce comes under e-commerce. So I mean, the learning curve is like immense, right? I'll just give an example of myself. I've learned during the startup experience of mine more than what I've learned during my university days, so which was spanning around like 5 years. So 5 years of learning in a startup is as equivalent to you doing a PhD, right? Because every day you learn something new, right? From unit economics to your Excel, PowerPoint, stakeholder management, you learn empathy, you learn discipline, because a startup is like a jungle, right? Nothing is in black and white. It's everything is haywire, right? So you need to have that can-do personality as well. You need to be a go-getter. So in Crave Mart, I mean, I have a lot of empowerment, something that I might not be able to have in an MNC, right? So there are some pros in MNC. There's a pros in startup world as well. Startup, I love it for the empowerment part. It has taught me a lot in terms of empathy. I mean, discipline as well, and especially the unit economics part. Because in startups, if you do not focus on the bottom line, there is chance that you can actually shut down your business very soon. So
Yeah. So I think the main thing is that you set up the foundation right
yeah.
for the students. So how did you come up with this idea? Like, what exactly was the gap that you identified or you recognized when you started this entrepreneurial journey?
I think I would take credit to my own self. I think it was the four co-founders. One of them actually sat and he ordered late night a munching brand, which didn't come on time. So he found out the need or the problem solving that there's a problem in Pakistan that nothing comes on time. Usually you order from e-commerce spaces and usually ek hafte baad, after even a week or so things do not come, and if they come they even do not come in right shape. You might get the wrong product, etc., etc. So that was when he found out that this is a problem, especially in the late hours when the department stores, we don't have 7-Elevens over here, we hardly have 24/7 shops over here, right? So he came up with the brainchild of Krave Mart when he himself ordered and didn't the munching thing didn't come on time. So he came up with an own startup by the name of Krave Mart, and it was all associated with craving, right? The late night craving that you have in the midnight, and the need of the problem statement was he couldn't get the right product for munching
At the right
on
time.
at the right time when he was craving for that. So that's how we came up with Crave Mart. So yeah.
So, and then now that Crave Mart has been there for quite some time, you might have experienced a lot of different challenges when it comes to businesses, right? So, Food Panda happens to be one of your major competitors in the market as well because they started off with food deliveries, but now they have kind of diversified as well. So, how was that change for you and for the business? Like, how did you cope up with that? Because, being a threat as well for your own company.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge was hiring the right people or human capital, right? So that's the most important part. And I would give kudos or shout out to my co-founders who found out the right team. If you don't have the right Ronaldos or Messis in your team, you might not be able to score goals, right? So the first thing that they did was hire the right capital, right? And by that, it doesn't mean that you need a lot of people. You can even start a startup with just 4 or 3 people, and then you can scale a business. Second thing, we never burned too much. We never went on a hyper growth model. For example, I'll just name a few startups that came and then after a year or 2 years they shut down. Airlift or Swivel. A lot of people know they were big names in the startup world, but they just shut down after a year or so because they were on a hyper growth burn model. So we never went there, that we burned too much and gained a little less. So we always did sustainable growth. The third thing was we never expanded too much as well. Like, for example, if we were in Karachi, we then scaled towards Lahore and now in Rawalpindi. On the other hand, if you talk about competition and other brands who are facing right now the heat, they are in more than 10 cities or so, but they are burning too much. So they are actually divesting the business as well. So we are using that formula of slow and steady wins the race, where we are actually going for a sustainable growth. So yeah, that's the secret recipe towards Krave Mart, how we're scaling business. And now we have InDrive with us. So now we have more funds. We can even burn too much today and grow too much, but we want to still adopt that philosophy that is slow and steady wins the race. Sustainable growth with some optimizations.
Baby steps, one
Baby
at a
steps,
time,
yeah. That's something that we want to follow still.
So what exactly? So you mentioned that you're also actively looking at the marketing bit for Krave Mart as well. Because now we have AI and all of these other things around you, tools that have made things so much easier. So how do you think that Krave Mart actually stands out from your other competitors or from people who are doing more or less the same thing?
I think the one USP that we have always focused on is, I mean, inspired by Philip Kotler. Where Philip Kotler says the win is not when a customer comes into your shop, it is actually when he comes back again, right? So we focus a lot of bit on our customer experience or the last mile. Krave Mart, when you launched, we came up with a 10-minute model, if you remember. We couldn't scale it because the expectations of the customer were that they really wanted in 10 minutes, and in a country like Pakistan or Karachi, right, where we reside,
But like chaotic traffic.
it's a chaotic traffic, especially in Share Faisal after 5 or 4 p.m. So then we scaled to 30 minutes. Right now we're delivering on 30 minutes, and 30 minutes mean within to 30 minutes only. And if we do not serve after 30 minutes or so, we give the customer an apology voucher code as well. So we're focusing on customer experience even before marketing, number one. Number two, then comes we are using very limited marketing to optimize those budgets and use it at the right platforms. So we do every quarter marketing and thematic campaigns or tentpole campaigns. We do not do every month because there is no need for doing every month. So we participated in big campaigns, like for example, we did a mega campaign in Ramzan. Now we're going to do in Bakra Eid, and then we're going to do in Back to School, which is in July. So, and then OND, which is our tentpole event by the name of Big Billion Week. So we pick and choose our battles where we need to invest, where we need not to invest. So yeah, that's something that how we take marketing. And we also are very active now on the content side of things, because we feel that, example of, let's forget about Krave Mart for some time. Crumble, like kudos to their guerrilla marketing, right? They spent very little, but they were doing a lot of memes and digital posts, right?
Yeah, that is something which is kind of on the rise now.
Yeah.
You even see that on LinkedIn. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these startups and businesses and organizations have started putting a lot of memes. I mean, they feel like humor is something which can add a bit of twist when it comes to your content, right? And it kind of attracts a lot of potential customers and clients too. So I think this is one more technique of like.
I became a Crumble customer. I went from Karachi to Islamabad during my work trip, and I went there and bought. And it was a very cool experience. I was proud of the fact I uploaded that story on my Instagram and first Facebook post as well, because it was the next cool thing, right? So Crumble, yeah.
So, Bilal, my question is again, what exactly is the business model that revolves around Krave Mart, and comparing that with students who are planning to, maybe launch their ventures? What is that one thing that they really need to focus on when it comes to the business model? Is it sustainability? Like, I know it's something which is in the air these days. Like, people are really focused on sustainability. They want to make sure that they are tapping every single, factor that would make them stand out.
Yeah, so I think Krave Mart's business model is still going to be quick commerce. Grocery, we are going to focus all those people who are there in the grocery household space of things. But we now want to scale up and expand our verticals. The first thing that we're going to do is launch our pharmacy, because we think everybody who buys staples or food and anything also needs pharmacy or medicines, right? Especially those Panadols, right? They are like used on a weekly basis as well. Second thing that we're launching is fashion accessories. We're not going to go launch like Gul Ahmad Al Karams because those are very heavy investments. So, like I spoke about in the earlier stages of your podcast as well, that we don't want to burn too much. We're going to scale more. So, we're going to launch then fashion accessories, and then move towards city expansions as well. So, right now, as I speak, in terms of the student part, we are also looking at the data side of things because it's super important. Like, for example, if Salia comes in, what she buys, we do basket analysis on a very day on day basis where we see
So you know your customers really well. Who
yeah,
exactly
the
is
best
coming?
part about us as e-commerce and quick commerce is that we have the data in our hands, so we can find out what Salia buys, when she buys, where is she living, through just a telephone number of yours. So it is as quick as that. So we can then, on the basis of that, also do target marketing. For example, if Salia has a food persona, we can target all of those canors and maybe food stuff to you. And if, for example, you buy on a midnight basis, right? So we can target the comms accordingly. So we're very data oriented.
So what exactly is your customer basically is like the target audience basically?
It is filled with Gen Zs and millennials, with Gen Zs being the biggest base. I think those people love to top up munch as much as they can, especially on a weekend as well. So they love to buy all of those top up munching categories like snacks, biscuits, chips, beverages. So that is also data that comes in, something that you might not be able to fetch from Nielsen or Ipsos or research companies because they do a lot of primary research from ground. But the best part about us is that if brands, and we also work with brands on launch pads as well. Like, for example, I cannot name a brand, but they're working on launching a new beverage brand in Pakistan. So they're taking our data, and on that side of things, they're also launching that product accordingly in terms of how they want to target those marketing communications, which people they want to target, what time they want to target, and which areas as well. Because a lot of people, like in Karachi, they might not able to consume maybe Red Bull in Shah Faisal Colony, but there might be people in DHA or maybe other areas where they want to consume. So that is the kind of data that I can give them. I can share anonymized level information, create personas, cohorts. So the best part about brands is they also learn from us as well. So yeah.
So yeah, I think research in that matter
Yeah.
really works out, especially if you want to expand. And where do you see Krave Mart in the next like 5 years? Like,
Next 5 years, I think we are going to expand ourselves, like I spoke about, in different categories. That's number one. Number two, we're going to do city expansion as well. And now, in the wider audience of the students, I just actually make it public as well that now InDrive has actually invested in us. So that means that InDrive, I mean, in the wider interest of the people who might not know, why InDrive is available in 100 plus countries. It is the second most used ride hailing service in the world after Uber, that is. So with that being said, there is a chance that we're also going to do some country expansions as well. So especially in the Middle East, because InDrive really wants to kill Kareem and Uber. So they are very heavily investing in Middle Eastern countries and South Asian countries like Pakistan. So yeah, that's the next few years of sorts that we're going to do. One is like vertical expansion in new categories. The second one is city expansion, and the third one is country expansions.
okay, so when we talk about giving some piece of advice or suggestions to youngsters and maybe Gen Zs who may be willing to start something of their own, what exactly is that one thing that you swear by is the most important aspect or very pivotal when it comes to launching your own ventures or something like Krave Mart?
I think that would be students today don't, I think, have that empathy element in them. They want short term wins. They want they just want promotions in just week or so. They want to evolve over time. I think that can only happen if you have experiences. You will only climb the ladder when you will also fail as well. I always believe in that. So even the best part about startups is that when students come in, they learn a lot. Like, I have had internship experiences with.
So you do take students for internships
Yeah,
and
yeah,
short-term
yeah,
projects.
yeah, yeah,
That's
for sure.
actually cool. Yeah.
And they complete their thesis projects over here as well, while taking Krave Mart business model in the universities and speaking about them and etc. etc. So best part about startup is Salia, that you learn more than you can learn in a university practically. I think something that in universities if I talk about myself, the case study concept is still, as compared to the Western side, a little less as compared to. So we need to have a lot of practical knowledge, education as well, which I think a startup can provide.
And real life challenges. And I think that, like exams, assignments, all cool, like they're a part of your syllabus or the degree that you're doing. But till you don't put yourself out there and, experience all of that practically, that is when you actually learn things around you.
100%. That's very true.
So easier said than done. But I think for students as well, like at IC also, we make sure that we do offer international degree programs, but at the same time, we really focus on skill-based training as well. So we basically encourage and motivate our students that you need to sign up for internships. There's a lot of things that you can pursue. So making sure that they're skilled enough, or they might have those kinds of employability skills that potential employers are looking for.
Perfect.
So my next question is going to be, so let's say if you're hiring students for your startup, what exactly are the skills that you're looking for? Somebody who you would like to hire maybe in your...
Okay, that's a tough one, but I'll answer like this, that so usually when I hire, even at the Krave Mart philosophy is that we don't see that a person comes from an X university, and if he or she doesn't come from a Y university, we're not going to select. So the criteria is we first see the education, that is. The second thing we see is, does that person have a can-do attitude or not in our interviews as well. So our interviews are very casual rather than scripted. Like, we don't focus on questions like, what is your favorite personality? What have you done in the past? It's more of real-time questions. Checking their empathy, checking their skills. Are they like creative? Do they have the can-do attitude? Do they have a quick problem-solving attitude as well? The reason being, in startups, you don't have time, right? So you need people who can fit in first, and also they have that can-do attitude. It's very super important, because in startups, there's also a disadvantage that nobody's going to give you some training or sorts. So you need to come in and learn yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Or just come prepared and learn. As you walk through that stage of being in that organization.
So skill really matters. Can-do attitude, empathy. These are secret recipe. If a student comes in a startup, he or she needs to be prepared for that. So,
And yes, and I think one more thing that I would like to add is, like you mentioned, startups are not that easy. It's not like a piece of cake. 9 to 5 karein, and then at the end of the month you get a salary. It's very difficult, So I think having that kind of skill set is very important. But at the same time, having those problem solving techniques. So let's say if you're under pressure, how do you handle that situation? And that is one thing that really, makes you realize that if you can really take those real world challenges from patte, we're prepping you for the corporate world, and you want to make sure that, you get that thrill of working with the professionals, but at the same time, you're not able to take that pressure. And that hustle. That corporate wheel, jisme hum sab bhag rahe hote hain like a hamster. It never ends. So you got to be quick, you got to be fast. Because, you blink your eye and there's some other buddy and another person who might be doing something similar. So again, it's something which is a different ball game overall, I feel.
100%. I think if you stay behind the race, there's a chance that the startup might ask. So there's a risk involved as well, Salia. It's not just, in a startup, you see the good side, which is like you feel that the environment is of a Google or a Facebook or Meta, because you will see the Gen Z crowd, millennial side, and sitting, and they're very casual. But the risk is also there, because you have a chance. So while the learning curve is huge, even way beyond as compared to a multinational, but the risk element is also there. So that also teaches you that if you do not survive within a 1 year, you will be actually a part of a startup that might not exist in the space then, and it might shut down. That's also
definitely I feel. And what about the creativity aspect when it comes to Krave Mart? Like any innovations and creative things that you might have done to level up your game when it comes to quick commerce or online shopping, if you name it like that?
So I think we are known in the industry for being one of the most creative ones, because we treat ourselves as a agency rather than a startup, where you come and find solutions. So we're always there talking to brands, taking that data, where basically we also tell them that you need to do this, just like a consultant, right? Just like McKinsey of the world, where you actually sit with the brand, talk to a brand, understand their briefs, and then based on that make tailor-made solutions, because we do not just give them marketing solutions just for the heck of it, that I'm going to do this. I first understand their problem statement, need statement, and then on the basis of that I come up with marketing comms, mood boards, storyboards, and yeah, right now as I speak, you will see our creativity during the Bakrid campaign that we're having. I mean, that starts off May end. So yeah, I will actually ask you to actually see our creative levels there.
That's
When
great.
you
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the marketing aspect with the creativity being there and adding innovative aspects and elements to your brand, what exactly is one thing that really makes it different? Like when it comes to marketing, how like do you just make sure that you're just putting it out there? Hello, I'm here. Come buy me.
Yeah.
Or just shooting ads, or
No. So I
or
think
the
we
content
love.
you basically feed
I-
into your audience.
Yeah, I think when we take a project, be it a marketing or a creative concept from a brand or a brief or something of sorts, we actually take it as if it's our own project, right? So that's the best part about us. I'm not like saying it because I'm part of Krave Mart, but the best part is we own it from the concept or idea generation till the execution phase. And the best part I love about Krave Mart is we also open for feedback. So for example, we also go to the customers to learn that did you love the campaign or not, how the feedback that is, or the insight, right? That's because you also need to not just be content or satisfied the campaign was good, but was it very effective, efficient? Did the customers like? What were the touch points that they saw in the ad? And did the brands love? Did their objective, if it was an ROI campaign, was it served? If it was an awareness campaign, did we like hit the
Right target
right
audience.
target audience? So yeah, all of those stuff. So I mean, we are very KPI and data oriented, and we really emphasize on the feedbacks, not just of the client, which is our brands, but also of the customers as well. So,
This thing that you mentioned about customer feedback, that is something which there's a story that I can recall. Maybe I can just share it. So one time I think I shopped online. I was planning to, and being a female and being like crazy shopaholic, I just happened to swipe, and I was just going through some things, and I decided to add all of these things. Okay, I don't need this, but I still want it in my cart. And then I just made up my mind that maybe I don't need it. So
Okay.
yeah, so I just left the link and I moved on. A couple of days later, I actually got a call from one of their customer representatives like, hey Saleha, you know what, we found out that you were kind of showing interest and we saw that you added some products in your cart, but you never proceeded any further. So are you still interested to buy? We have a sale going on and blah blah blah. And that is one thing that I really liked. They really made sure that the customer
I think I
was
know
not
that
left.
company because I know that company as well. I also did this, so they called me right like after 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, wow. So yeah.
So अभी है, इस तरह की I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of companies, they've started doing it. Recently, I went to this place and a service industry, a company basically. So I went and they called me recently, like after weekends, like, how was the service? Did they do well? And usually they come up with these kinds of services as well to make sure that, the customers were catered properly and they're satisfied. And I think that is something very important for the
Yeah.
businesses to thrive and the businesses to do well. Or maybe if there are any loopholes or gray areas that
Yeah.
needs to be filled in, I think that is imperative.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot agree more than this. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bilal, for being here. But before we end this session, I just want you to answer one last question for the audience here. What is that one piece of advice that you would like to give our students when it comes to quick commerce and kids who are planning to dive into this world of entrepreneurship or maybe start their own ventures?
I think there are too many advices, but I'll just sum it up in this way that when a student comes in a startup world, right? So be very open for learning. Don't think that you are from this university and you've done an MBA from a very fancy university. So because I think the practical journey or education starts when you enroll in a corporate world, and startup is, I think, the right formula for you to learn. That's number one. Number two, the learning part can come from even seniors or juniors of yours. I mean, I still, after 13 years, I mean, I learned from my own subordinate in my team as well. So be open for that as well. You sometimes I think the learning curve actually people end when they say, "Nahi yaar, I've actually spent 10 years. I don't want to learn from you. I know all of my games." So I think be open for learning as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I say that there's no full stop when it comes to learning.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
100%.
every stage of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be prepared for successes along with failures as well. Because in startups, I mean, I'll just give you a ratio of 10 startups that come in. To survive, 8 actually go down the mile. So, I mean, you just be prepared for that as well. But that failure will actually help you learn, which I think no university or maybe a practical education will actually give you. So, that's the best part about startup. You learn more than, I mean, you can learn in your university as well. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Bilal, for being here and giving us some really good tips and insights on quick commerce. That was it for today. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this session. And thank you. Have a great day.